Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are back at the chicken coop and I am going to enlist the help of my fantastic team, my fantastic husband with his lovely heavy machinery, and we are going to plant this little island bed here behind the chicken coop. I've been waiting all summer to do it. It's just a matter of time and the plants and all the things, right? Well, today is the day. We are between rainstorms and it is dry enough to get the machinery up here, so that is what we're going to do. I went ahead and placed all the plants out because I just needed to have some time by myself to think and kind of like work through the process of designing it and where the plants were going to go. I already knew where a couple of them were going to go, but then sometimes you just have to sit in that space and just kind of let the design happen. At least that's how it works for me. So that is what I did, and I have got them all placed. So let me show you exactly what we're going to plant today, just to give you a bit of a frame of reference of where we are and this space. This is the back side of the chicken coop, and right here where you see all the machinery, this is one of the little drives that we have created that will go all the way around what I call the island bed, which is this flower bed. Really, you can tell the difference, hopefully, between the two different mulches. The light colored mulch is from when the power company has to come through and like trim limbs. We take their wood chips and we use that along paths and that kind of thing. Then inside the confines, the boundaries of the island bed is the darker mulch that we use. When we were doing the chicken coop, we just went ahead and put the mulch down just to get out of the mud. Nothing really has been planted in here except for a couple of things way down there on the corner. If you remember, we planted a little Miss Figgy in the pot, and that pot was sitting right over here. She is going to get relocated, so therefore she is sitting right here in the little driveway. Now, in this section of the bed, we essentially have these three trees, 1, 2, and then 3, that give us a little bit of a miniature bed with inside the big bed. We had a Crimson Queen Japanese maple here in this 15-gallon. She was on the struggle bus at the nursery, had her for, gosh, a year, over a year. And she was just struggling. It was a B&B, so we potted up in a pot and she started looking really good. And I went ahead and volunteered and grabbed it. So a Crimson Queen is that, of course, iconic Japanese maple that does those beautiful, very dissected, frilly burgundy leaves, right? It has more of a low, wide weeping habit. At maturity, it could be 10 feet tall and 10 feet wide. However, it's on the slower growing side. This is not on irrigation, and it's going to be competing against tree roots. So I suspect it's going to be a pretty slow grower. So it's just going to take its sweet time, which is perfectly fine. So we got the Crimson Queen here in the middle, and then you will see surrounding it, I have 3 nice evergreen camellias. This is the Greensboro Red. All 3 of them are the same. Greensboro Red is going to be, okay, we're going to have a little test looking at these leaves. Is this a Japonica or is this a Sasanqua? Do you remember? Sasanquas have smaller leaves, Japonicas have nice big leaves. So this is a Japonica, meaning that it is going to bloom in late winter into the spring. It does have some buds on it. Some of them are smaller, the ones at the bottom are a little bit bigger. Obviously, from its name, Greensboro Red, it is going to be a classic, beautiful red, deep red with a little bit of a yellow throat. Now, looking at the habit on these are definitely going to be more upright, more columnar than they are wide. They're going to, what I want them to do is basically to touch each other. They're about 5 to 6 feet apart from each other, which is really their mature size. Our property line is literally like the trees back there. So we are right on our property line. We love our neighbors. They're just through the woods over here. Not that there's probably any plan whatsoever to do anything back here, but you know, just go ahead, and if you know that you're on your property line, you never know what could happen. They could sell their house. So the new person could come in and cut all this stuff down and put who knows what right there, right? So I'm just kind of thinking ahead and giving me some nice evergreen back here to give me some height. It'll be gorgeous when all 3 of them are blooming. I think it'll be gorgeous. Even in the summertime, spring, summer, fall, when the camellias are not blooming, and then you've got that stunning foliage off of the Japanese maple. Oh, it's going to be gorgeous. So that is the plan there. And then I had a sweet little firelight tidbit that I went ahead and stuck here on the corner because one can never have too many hydrangeas. So we've got firelight tidbit right here. Of course, that's a great panicle hydrangea, and it's going to be on the smaller side, so it'll fill in quite nicely right here and be really sweet. Now, this is not going to be the last planting we do in this bed. Oh, no, because there's constantly new plants arriving. I'm finding new plants that I want to add in, so I am intentionally leaving holes, right? This is not going to be a one and done. That is not gardening. We are going to be coming back here in the spring, in the summer, and I'll be adding in little things as we go along. Now, my sweet boy Jackson brought up the machinery and the land and sea for me, but he kind of blocked my view. So we're just going to work with the best way we got here. Coming along, this is definitely going to be the biggest, most open area that's going to probably get the most sun right here. Remember, we do have these hardwood trees, but some of them are quite small. They will develop and get bigger as time goes on. Again, thinking I'm going to start in the back with my tallest, and then we're going to work our way forward. Back there in the back, you're going to see that we have an evergreen. This is soft serve, and soft serve is a false cypress, a camariciferous, and I am on the border of being too warm for her, but we're gonna give it a whirl, y'all. Soft serve is gonna be like 6 to 10 feet tall, 5 to 6 wide, beautiful evergreen. By its name, it is a soft to the touch. So that will be really nice to give me some height, evergreen structure there. And then in the 2 black cans on either side, those are the classic limelight hydrangeas. You may remember that we did the limelights on the very back of the signature garden, and so we had 2 left over. I think these will be really fun. Of course, limelights, again, classic panicle hydrangea that will get to be in that 6 to 8 foot range and just be stunning. Now, I can prune them however I want, as far as like the other ones that I have near the creek. I have them limbed up from the bottom, nice and full, and will be absolutely stunning. I am a huge fan of the Rainbow Rhythm daylilies. Here we have the brand new, this is Storm Shelter, and this is going to be such a fun daylily. It's only going to be 24 inches tall, but look at that beautiful flower on it. Absolutely stunning with that purple and that lavender, with that really pretty yellow throat. Gonna love it. So I put them in a group of 3 so that they will grow together and essentially be like one big, huge, massive clump together. And then on this side, to kind of mirror that same shape, we did some abelias. This is the Mucho Gusto abelia. It is a new one. It is, of course, now this is January, so it's looking a little rough right now, but gorgeous classic colors on it. This is only going to be about 2.5 to 3 feet tall, but it can be 3 to 5 wide. So that's going to be super fun. Nice evergreen, even though in the wintertime for us, remember we're in North Carolina, a zone 8A, abelias will be evergreen. However, they're not going to be as lush, right? Of course, that is just kind of the obvious. All plants don't look, unless you're a camellia, they don't look so great in the wintertime. So we did a group of 3 right there for those. And then finally what we're going to add, you can see those 2 last little pots. And yes, I did put them exactly in line with these trees. Those are my last 2 little pufferfish that Proven Winners sent me in last year. So I thought this would be a really fun way to kind of separate physically these beds, right? So it is one massive bed, but within that bed we have different areas. So we've got the pufferfish, gorgeous panicle hydrangea, big huge blooms on it, 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. So this will fill in this area quite nicely. So Cece and Alyssa are here, so we're all gonna work together. Jerry's gonna be here in just a second, get on the machine, and we're gonna get all of these babies in the ground. We're gonna probably plant this in some record time. I've got my biotone, and then I do have, like I said, nice big thing of the land and seed compost, because the soil here is horrible. Classic red, North Carolina red clay, horrible, no organic matter whatsoever. So we are going to add some, both a little bit to the hole and then around each plant, and then we will be good to go. Not gonna water today. Remember, North Carolina, very wet winters. We're in about, starting tomorrow, we're gonna get like 4 or 5 days worth of rain. So I do not need to water these plants at all. So we're just gonna get the machines going and get these babies in the ground. Today's project is complete, my friends. I'm telling you, when you've got big machinery and lots of helping hands, the project goes by super fast. So all the plants are in the ground and they look great in their new home. I know that we're going to probably get a lot of questions about this planting in late January. Why are you planting in late January? Can you do that? Are the plants not going to be harmed? Which is a rightful concern. So this is where being a student of your own garden is super important. Now, if you're like a lot of the country and you're under, feet of snow and you have or have any kind of snow on the ground, obviously you're probably not going to be out here installing shrubs and trees into your garden. That is the beautiful thing about being in North Carolina, right? The southeast United States, zone 8A. Our winters are cold. Like this morning, it was 16 degrees. However, in a couple of days, we're gonna hit like 70 something. So our temperatures don't stay cold for an extended amount of time, like other parts of the country. We definitely get cold, but it may be for 2 nights and then you're back up and you're nice and warm again. So it's this constant up and down. Our ground never freezes. We dug all those holes. The ground was not frozen whatsoever. However, there were some plants that I had grabbed up off of the production shrub lot that were left over from one of our plantings, and I had kind of just stuck them there. So they were frozen. The abelias were frozen. The daylilies were frozen. Everybody else, I'm not sure about the soft serve. I didn't plant the soft serve, so I'm not sure about that. Everybody else was either up here or down at the pines where they're a little bit more insulated. The roots were not frozen. So what does that tell me? Okay, the plants are going to be more insulated in the ground than they were sitting in their nursery pots out on the shrub lot. It is not going to hurt the plants, even because the roots were frozen, they're not going to die. They are very cold hardy, and it didn't stay that cold for that length of a time to kill them. So they will be okay. So if you are like me and you are in a warmer zone and your ground does not really freeze, you don't have snow on the ground, then yeah, you absolutely can go ahead and plant some shrubs, trees, perennials. Now, I will say also that I chose not to plant my warm weather plants, my echinacea, my denim and lace, my sedums, those kinds of things. I'm gonna wait until it gets a little bit warmer and we go into that more active growing season, and then I'll get them in the ground. It's just kind of knowing your plants, right? Knowing your plants. These are all very cold hardy. They're gonna be more insulated in the ground here than they were exposed out in the nursery pots. So there you go. I do love this little corner right here. This might be kind of my instant favorite with the beautiful of that evergreen of the Greensboro red camellia. I can envision the Japanese maple, that crimson queen, and then it'll be really fun to have a nice kind of pop of white with some pink with that firelight tidbit right there. Still plenty of room. If I wanted to come back through here and put some low growing perennials, I certainly could do that. Definitely have more room to add plenty of plants in here, but everybody just looks great, right? So you've got the daylilies, Sound of My Heart. We've got the 2 limelight hydrangeas, then the soft serve false cypress, Mucho Gusto abelia. These are going to grow and they're basically going to look like one massive plant. With your abelias, this is definitely going to be more of a southern plant because they do like it warm. To prune them, we're going to do that as we leave winter and go into spring. These are small, so I'll just give them a little bit of a trim, but they bloom on new growth, and abelias really respond well to being pruned like once a year. So we'll just give them a little bit of a haircut since they're little, and they will be really fun to watch grow. And then last but not least, what we added were the 2 puffer fish that'll be in line right here. I really think that's going to be fun because it is basically going to really kind of put a dividing wall between the beds over there, and then open us up and give this area right here lots of really pretty new room and kind of make a garden within a garden. So as always, we hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Yeah, even in North Carolina, late January, we still get to plant. Now, come August and July, I'm going to be wishing I was in Michigan and Maine and wherever you are that's cold and you have cool nights. Then we're going to switch places. I don't want to switch places with you now. I like being here and still being able to garden year round. Anyway, it's time for lunch. Jenny's getting a little hungry. We'll see you on the next video. Bye, friends.